Hey guys, what's going on? Wild here. Today we're talking about Campo Santo's leading indie title, Firewatch. Firewatch is a game that I have spent many hours in and many hours enjoying the serenity, beauty, and art style of the leading title. But if I have to do it justice, I would say one word, and that is unparalleled. There's so many ways that I can describe this, but in this video we're going to get deeper into that. Firewatch follows the story of a protagonist, Henry, who in 1989 decides to head into the heart of the Rockies to escape his old life, to find serenity from a wife suffering from early onset dementia that he can't bear to see deteriorate anymore. In the prologue to the game, you make a series of decisions when you step forward into the beautiful art style of Campo Santo's indie game. Firewatch is unique in the way it's built its art style, but what really grips you throughout your playing time is the story. Henry's story through Shoshone National Forest is communicated via walkie-talkie with his Firewatch supervisor, Delilah. And I have to say, this is one of the best games and storylines that I have ever played, because Campo Santo achieves a major goal in which the player feels connected to a character of which they know very little about, but develop their own connection with over a period of choices. And what I reference there is Henry. For all Firewatch players, you would know that when you play the game, you're playing as the protagonist character, Henry, right? You're making all these decisions that Henry follows and experiences, right? But in truth, Henry is the mask that the player adopts. Henry is a persona which you understand because you need a protagonist character. The real story lies within your playing time. The decisions you make, the outcomes on the walkie-talkie that you begin to feel and understand and actually connect with, because there's nothing else stopping you in this beautiful work of art. The story writers at Campo Santo managed to put you in a position where you are Henry, but every decision that you make, Henry follows, and you begin to understand. It begins to allow the player to form a connection with Henry, and even Delilah. But the connection that you're forming isn't necessarily bounded on the basis of the communication, but yet formed on the basis of a relationship which is built between the two of you. The writers are very smart in the way they delicately place together the story, and that you know only what needs to be known to understand Firewatch. What I mean by that is, in the prologue of the story, you were only told so much about Henry, just enough so you understand why he's there. Henry is there for a reason, and it's not quite prevalent to you until you begin to communicate with Delilah, and you begin to communicate, and Henry communicates with Delilah over this walkie-talkie. And that comes with time through the story. Now, Firewatch isn't just liked by hundreds of content creators and hundreds of thousands of players, it's also liked by game reviewers and studios alike. Campo Santo has now been picked up by Valve, one of the biggest game creators and gaming studios in the world, because of its work on Firewatch. The thing that makes Firewatch so special to people is the character that you adopt as Henry begins to become a part of you. And like I've gone over many times, every decision that's made, you make. It's not Henry making those decisions. And that's something that is not really prevalent until you finish the story, or at least until you go back and play it for the second time. A lot of people generally try to finish Firewatch as quick as you can, and you tend to forget that you're there for its serenity, and you're there to enjoy your time in Firewatch. And that's all the first time of playing, but once you play it the second time, you see it in a different set of eyes. I've played this game so much and so often, and I cannot tell people how many times I have consistently gone back into the game during the holidays or the summer, between school, and just jumped in and gone, this is so much better than any COD game. But even to take the serenity, the beauty, and even the feeling of the player and combine that with the character, that's enough. But Campo Santo takes it another level, and they add a simple melody, a simple soundtrack that is almost familiar as the easy piano play when you open that first screen of Minecraft. And if you ask any Firewatch player, they will tell you the original soundtrack makes Firewatch truly amazing. The simple sound of which you listen to, the simple serenity, it all adds up, and it makes an equation which is equal to a number which can't be divided by anything else or equal to anything else unless you put all of these variables in play. But what finally creates that equation is Delilah. She's a character which you begin to communicate with over the walkie-talkie, but you know little about. And you develop a relationship with Delilah over time throughout Firewatch, which many people can't do even when they're face to face. But that's all because the resources are there. You're in a perfect environment. And not only that, but Delilah isn't actually there. You're actually communicating with her over a radio device. And that's why I think Firewatch is different. If you weren't to add that simple soundtrack, and you weren't to add that art style, and you weren't to add Henry, and you weren't to add that capability of story creation, then you wouldn't even be able to develop anything with Delilah. And all of this adds up to an ending which many people perceive as not bad, but disappointing. And yes, it is a heartbreaking ending to many people, but when you truly look at it, the fact that you were blinded the whole time, for me to remind you that Henry still has a wife who is suffering from early onset dementia. And he still has to care for her, but you forget about all of that in the stunning natural and beauty of Campo Santo's leading indie title. Now, if you want to go pick up Firewatch for yourself, ladies and gentlemen, I would highly recommend it. Right now, you can get it on the Steam store. It's currently on sale. I would highly recommend it to any gamer, no matter what you are, and it also is available on Nintendo Switch and all consoles. And I'd just like to make it clear, I'm not endorsed by Campo Santo in any way. Now, Firewatch is an amazing game, and I can't do it justice in one video when half my viewingship doesn't understand it. So if you do want to see a live stream, I'm happy to do that. But with that said, guys, I did hope you're going to enjoy today's video, and go play Firewatch. And I hope you do end up exploring the National Forest.